Show of the Codex podcast. As usual, I'm your host, Sonny Kruger. I'm joined by my usual co-hosts, Tim Morris, Tim the Terrible, and Dan Kelly. Dan Kelly Art.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
What's up?
Oh, a certain show came on, but I'm saving my excitement for the actual show. I'm like, I will contain myself for the pre-show. Be all good. But yeah, so today we will be talking about X-Men 97, but also there's more X-Men news in actual comic book form. We will be reviewing X-Men 153, Kitty's Fairy Tale. Oh, and Dan's got it right next to him.
Oh, hey, look at that. Mine is in a box somewhere.
Pretty impressive. But you know, it's also impressive that I have the trade paperbacks, including our F-lister today.
Ooh.
Number one fan. You know, and then, of course, there's random panel of the day. And it does go with Wolverine. Wolverine's actually reading, or should I say looking at something.
Yes.
Wow, it's a very X-Men centric. And tomorrow's comic character of the week is Colossus.
That's right.
Awesome.
I can't wait for that. He's one of my favorite X-Men that I know next to nothing about.
He is my favorite X-Men character, to the point that when they killed him in the comics, I stopped reading X-Men for years. I was like, you killed, I'm done. It was a good storyline. I was like,
Now I will say this, and Sonny, I'm pretty sure you can agree with me on this. Dan, you too. When Colossus joined Magneto in the Fatal Attraction storyline, that was a punch in the gut. Just like sitting there reading that, and you're like, what the hell's going on right now? What? Wait a minute. Why is he leaving? This can't happen. This can't be right.
Yeah, like out of all people, yeah. But I mean, I know he had his reasons, but
well, he did.
That was that, and him coming back to the team. That was kind of a dark time in the life of Colossus.
Yes,
and then they put him through the ringer recently too.
Did they?
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Like, Colossus has been on the X-Men. He's been on Excalibur. Has he ever been on X-Force?
Yes,
he has. So
he was on X-Force when they all had like the kind of matching black uniforms. It was him and Cable and Domino. I can't remember all of them.
What a character to have on like the Outlaw team.
And he's in X-Force.
The good guy.
And he's been in the X-Force book. I know recently he's been in it. He was on, like you said, he was one of the acolytes.
Yeah.
He was a member of the Defenders for a short period of time.
Wow. Okay.
It was a really crappy team he was on too. It was like him and Atlas and Nighthawk and
wow.
I think She-Hulk. It was like, why do you have all these super strong characters? You have like 3 super strong characters, and then Nighthawk, who has no powers.
The Defenders are like the most random team. Always, it's always the most random characters.
Yeah,
I mean, sometimes it's cool, but sometimes
just rotate them out.
It was a mini series called Last Defenders, and he was one of them that was on there.
Wow.
Yeah, which should be a great episode tomorrow. Yeah, it's a Colossus, amazing character, and he's been a part of so many big stories. So
yeah,
I'm looking forward to watching.
Like I was saying, when we did the Cannonball episode, as much as I like Cannonball, it was tough finding like 3 really standout Cannonball covers.
Yeah, he's bringing covers. Yeah,
there's not a lot of covers that feature just Cannonball.
Well, yeah, there's one cover that I didn't see you guys pull, and I didn't think anybody would, but like this is the first one that comes to mind when I think of him. Let me see if I can find the issue number.
I joked with Gary that somebody should pick New Mutants Annual #1. It's the first appearance of Lila Cheney, but she's on the cover, and then it's the guy that's in this like bondage gear, and I was like, that's Cannonball that's on there, where they're so technically it's a Cannonball cover, but nobody picked that.
Like the one I'm thinking of is a Greg Capullo cover.
From X-Force.
Yeah, I think it's issue 19.
I know a lot of guys picked it as like one of the best stories with Cannonball.
Oh, is that the one where he was like grabbing Xavier?
Yeah. Let me grab it real quick, Sonny, if you're cool with that, so I can show you guys what I'm talking about.
But anyways, there's not a ton of Cannonball centric covers. There's not a ton of Cannonball centric stories. It's the opposite for Colossus. There's so many good covers. Did you get all your 3 covers in to Jamie, Tim?
For Colossus?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was texting. I was to the point with Gary and Sal. I texted him. I was like, I'm definitely going to use these 2 covers. I've got it, just in case, because we were talking about how many good ones they are. And they were like, oh, okay, well, I was going to use that, but I'll pick this other one instead because I'm having a hard time choosing. And then when I did choose my 3rd cover, I was like, here's 4 or 5 other covers that were really great that I didn't pick in case you're having a hard time choosing. Like,
I kind of like it when we overlap, to be honest with you.
I do like it when we overlap, but also, it's cool when we overlap on covers, but I think it's cooler when we overlap on stories.
Yeah.
Because if there's like 3 of us that all pick the same story, like, okay, clearly, go underneath this.
Here's the cover I would have chosen if I were on the Cannonball episode, because this was when I was heavy into reading it. Look at that. That Cable had left the team and Cannonball was in charge, and he was as over Xavier shit as everybody else was.
A bunch of us, I think all of us picked that in some form, either for recommended reading or I didn't have it for recommended reading. I had it in my badass moments, but all of us had it in there. And I picked Greg Capullo as my favorite artist for Cannonball.
That's perfect.
Yeah, when I saw, because you guys mentioned it a lot, I was like, okay, I need to get up to reading that in X-Force. Yeah.
I was telling someone I work with today that asked about the podcast, and I was like, yeah, we do this show and this show. I was like, in the Character of the Week show, it's kind of geared towards people that don't know anything about it, where if you see a character and you're like, oh, I'm kind of interested in this character, it's like, all right, watch this. We're going to give you a deep dive and tell you all the stuff you need to know about
well, like with Cannonball, after Liefeld was done and after the Executioner's Song stuff was finished, and Capullo and shoot, I can't remember. Yeah, like when he really got to dive in and start telling some in-depth X-Force stories, that's when it really got good.
Yeah.
So
the costume that as much as I like, Capullo, the new costumes he designed for X-Force at that time were not great. You look back at the costumes and you're like, these aren't very good. Like,
and then it was the 90s. So a lot of times now we look back and we're like, man,
was okay, but like Boom Booms was terrible. Warpath was not good. Cannonball was okay, but not great. Shatterstar I thought was a big step down from his original suit. Like, that was that was not a good time for X-Force costumes.
Well, Sonny, we got some news, don't we?
Oh yes, we do. When we on the actual show, we will get to news, about X-Men. There was a certain trailer about the Crow. There's a certain movie that's going to be in development, and then certain movies that will not be in development. But yeah, I'm excited for us to talk about comic book news. I may surprise you with what I say about the Crow. Maybe.
Ooh, interesting.
That's called a tease, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. All right. Yeah. Lots of stuff to cover today. Lots of it. Lots of good stuff.
Oh yeah.
Since you guys are making fun of me for all the stuff, like, oh, look what he does in the 30 seconds between the show coming on. It's like, what did you say? It's like ADD at its finest. That's what Jamie said.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm wondering what you're going to pull out.
Like now, when you do go for the little breaks, now you just make me want to like get up and run around and do something.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you could see what we see when we go to the countdown, as soon as the screen goes to the countdown, Dan moves. And then,
well, you know what it is? It's because I'm in the basement. My setup's in the basement. I usually run upstairs real quick to grab whatever I'm drinking out of the fridge so it stays cool longer.
Yeah.
And my daughter's usually sitting up there watching TV, and I'll just check real quick, like, hey, do you need anything? And sometimes she wants me to grab her something real quick.
I got 45 seconds.
That's why I do it. Like, if you notice on Character of the Week, like when it comes up on the on the full screen for the readings and the covers, sometimes I'll run up there and just be like, are you okay? Everything doing it? Like, you could tell the nights that it's just me here with her. My wife's not home, because that's when I'm like running up there, like, everything good? You need me to grab you anything?
The magic of Codex, ladies and gentlemen, behind the scenes.
Outfit changes. Don't forget outfit changes.
Yeah.
That was
For
only
the-
one time. So
we'll
far.
see what happens at
Yeah,
the
so
end
far,
of this
yeah.
year.
Let's see what.
We'll see what happens when we do the Codex Awards again this year.
Oh, next year I'm gonna come back on in that wedding dress that Madonna wore in the Like a Virgin.
Oh my
when she
God.
did that at the MTV Awards.
Have Sal dress like Madonna did in Material Girl.
I was gonna have him dressed like Cyndi Lauper.
That's wonderful.
Or Lady Gaga with the meat outfit.
I'll do that. I'm okay.
Tim's
with
got
that.
it. Tim said it.
The meat outfit.
Oh my God. No, the bubble wrap outfit that she wore. Or the all plastic one, whatever it is. I don't know.
Hey, maybe she'll put scissors on her hands like the F-list. F-lister.
There you go.
Well, Tim, with that,
That was I think that was something that was probably in that magazine Wolverine was looking at.
That is very possible.
yes, we'll get that on. That'll be with the random panel of the week. And that's from an X-Men story, a big story too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not some little thing. It's from one of the classics.
Yeah. All right. You ready, Sonny?
I'm ready.
All right. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, stick around. We will be back in about 45 seconds. What's going on here?
Hello, everyone. Welcome.
Wait a
to
minute.
another episode-
It's not working.
You want to get striked? First of all,
Now that we got our intro in there, I could officially say, hello, everyone.
Lord.
Welcome to another episode of the Codex Podcast. As usual, I'm your host, Sonny Kruger. I'm joined by my usual co-hosts, Tim Morse and Dan Kelly.
Technology is
Yeah.
not my friend.
Okay,
Saying.
you got many friends here at Codex.
That's true.
And you got one friend who's very excited today because there was a show that I watched this week. I think that's right, Sal, technical
What's Sal?
difficulties.
All right, so well, I'll ask my question about it when we actually get to that part.
Okay.
TJ asks who's going to wear the 70s Cher Indian costume or Cher's costume from the 80s with the fishnet stockings.
I'll have to take that with my name being Sunny. I may have to take, I have to go with Cher.
Oh, that's going to be Wes that wears that one.
Perfect. Done.
Oh, yeah.
And then Tim's going to dress like Sonny.
I'll
They're
be
gonna
Sonny
do the
Bono.
episode side by side.
Yeah. Sing I Got You, Babe.
What a song. I've always loved that song.
Then we'll sing it to
But-
you. Go ahead,
Thank
Sonny. Sorry.
There was this show that I watched this week, and I think everybody knows the show, Irma Vep. So I start with Vep. But there's this other show I watched last night in the middle of the night, 1 a.m. I turn on TV, and I start Even Stevens
Oh my God.
because I had to wait. There was a few more hours. I checked online. It's at 3 a.m. So I was doing my stuff, watching TV, trying to pass the time. Then went online, doing my stuff, and then at 3:04, went back to the TV and I watched X-Men '97.
Oh my God.
Finally
Now,
got to
everybody,
it.
you have to remember this. It's not like he waited up all night for this. Sonny stays up all night regardless.
Exactly. Yeah, so I'm like, perfect. I'm like, 3 a.m. is the perfect time for me. Trust me, I was like, I'm watching it every week. 3 a.m. hits, I'll watch it
Right
because-
now.
And how
I
many
am-
times did you watch them?
So far, only once, but I was like, oh, I got to watch it again
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
for next week. Yes.
Because you missed stuff, and we'll talk about that. So,
Oh, yeah.
I was taking notes when I was watching it.
Nice. Yeah, so we'll definitely have to jump on that. Yes, so X-Men '97 premiered. But there's some other things we can get onto
Mhm.
as well. We got some comic book news. And I'll start us off with the rundown.
All right.
As I said, X-Men '97 premiered with 2 episodes. but there is some more X-Men news, and it was called, we can basically say, the new beginning for X-Men. And that is with 3 new titles coming out this summer. And those titles are set to be called The Uncanny X-Men. It'll be by Gail Simone and David Marquez.
Mhm.
And another series just called X-Men by Jed McKay and Ryan Stegman. And then Exceptional X-Men by Eve L. Ewing and Carmen Carnero. And they're set to start this summer of 2024.
Perfect.
Also, we saw the Crow trailer,
Mhm.
and we'll get it onto it a little bit, but yeah, people, no surprise, are not liking it.
That is right, Sal. First appearance of X-Men 97 is in Hulk 180.
Isn't
Yes,
it weird that
is.
Al Ewing is writing X-Men books now, and this other person, what does he say? Eve Ewing is taking
Yep.
over writing X-Men, and there's no relation between the two.
Yeah, maybe they'll get Patrick Ewing, the NBA legend, on it soon. I hope so. But there's other good news that's coming out, is that there is set to be a live action movie of the Teen Titans that is set to be in development. So we'll keep you more updated on that as the more news comes out about it. And then, so that's in development. And then we found out that Marvel Studios, they're risk adverse. They're getting rid of some. They're canceling. They're saying no more to some sequels. And that includes, they're saying there will be no more sequels to, there will not be an Ant-Man 4, and there will not be an Eternals 2, and saying there will not be a third movie with Captain Marvel.
As well as I think some TV shows too, right? They haven't really officially announced it, but they can't. The
Wonder Man is in production right now.
Wonder Man
production,
and the Agatha Harkness show. I think just because they're so far along, but they said there's not going to be a She-Hulk season 2.
Nope.
I heard Agatha Harkness is just going to be called Agatha. Like, that's what I heard.
They changed the name of it again.
Agatha.
Wow.
Can't wait to talk about Agatha. Something I just found out as we were literally chatting before in the pre-show and the pre-show is that there's set to be a video game coming out in 2025, 1943, Rise of Hydra.
Yeah.
To focus on Captain America and Black Panther, who at the time was King T'Challa.
Yeah, that looks interesting. It looks. I saw some people complaining about it, like they were saying, if it's not an Invaders game, I don't want it. Fuck you guys. It's gonna be a good fucking game, and you're gonna enjoy it, and you are. Just quit fucking bitching. Jesus,
3 times,
Christ.
Once, twice, 3 times a lady.
I get tired of those guys. Come on now.
I will say, when I first heard about this game, my initial reaction was, "That's going to be super cool." It makes me kind of want to get a system that it actually will go on to play it and play video games again. I never even thought it's not an Invaders game, though now I'm thinking, man, an Invaders game would be super cool too. But who knows? All these games, different characters pop up in them, so you never know.
Yeah, they got to go with the characters that are popular. Black Panther is popular. Captain America is popular. Namor, you guys complained about when he was in Black Panther, so he's not going to be in there. Human Torch, everybody knows him from the Fantastic Four, so they're not going to use the android Human Torch
from the
30s. It would be awesome if they did, but they're not going to do that. Sal, you might as well go in the bomb shelter because the F-bombs are a-dropping today.
Android Human Torch Jim Hammond, though, is canon in the MCU.
Very true. He was in Captain America, the First Avenger. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, there's all kinds of other cool invaders they could do too. They probably won't because they're more obscure. But how cool would it be to see Union Jack or Spitfire or the Destroyer?
I would love to see those characters. I really would, and I would love an Invaders game. But you got to go with who is popular, or at least who my 13-year-old son is going to know. Because if you see a half-naked man in green scaled underwear on the cover of a game, he's going to be like, "Who the hell's that?" That's Namar's son.
Nick Fury, I would assume, would probably pop up in it.
And the Howling Commandos, absolutely, yeah. So there you go.
Pretty cool.
I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry.
All right. Well, Tim,
like I said, as soon as I heard it, I was like, "That game sounds awesome."
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. I didn't mean to cuss, Sonny.
No.
I know you like to keep this as pleasant as a church visit, but I just had to.
I try. Okay. Now we're going to talk about the Crow trailer.
Ooh, okay.
What do you think about that?
I
Go for it.
am.
You go for it?
Yeah, I'll go. I'm excited about it. Now keep this in mind. The Brandon Lee Crow is a cinematic masterpiece, and it can never be changed. It can never be taken away. And if you are raw and or sore about a remake of The Crow coming with Eric Draven, shut your TV off. Don't go to the theater that day, and wait until later when you've calmed down and put the Brandon Lee one in and watch that. It'll always be there for you. It'll never go away. It'll always be your favorite movie. I'm going to go to the theater and watch this new one and check it out. I'm not as invested in The Crow as a lot of other people are. It did not alter my life in the 90s and make me think that I needed to put white face paint on. I'm just hating on everybody today. But
What did you think of the Edward Furlong Crow movie?
I never watched that, and I don't think I ever will because it just looked horrendous and stupid.
It was pretty bad. There were multiple Crow sequels that were all bad. There was the TV show that
Well,
I don't even have to watch that to know that it was.
now wait a second. City of Angels, I did not like.
Great Nicolas Cage movie, City of Angels.
Yeah, it's amazing. I did not like it when I first watched it. I have not watched it in a while, so I'll have to go back and watch it again. But as a father now, the movie might hit a little bit different. Crow Salvation, the one that had Kirsten Dunst in it, I actually liked that. I thought that was a good movie. It's not better than the original, but it's better than City of Angels. Anything else I haven't seen.
I saw the trailer like everyone else. I think that it looks as bad as I thought it was going to. It looks, to me, it looks like over stylized garbage. It looks like
That's
it's like,
fair.
hey, we're gonna make this super flashy and super slick, and he's gonna have tattoos and this and this and this, and it just looks like just looks like it's gonna be bad.
I've heard him called the Machine Gun Kelly Crow.
Yeah,
I've heard the Jared Leto Crow, yeah, or Croker or something.
You know, it's one of those movies you look at and you're like, is this something that really needed to be made?
No.
And I don't really see the reason for it, because at the same time too, it's not, I can't even really say it's an adaptation or a remake, because clearly from the trailer, the only thing from the story that they're keeping is the names of the two characters, and that they get assaulted and she dies and he comes back for revenge. But clearly, like, everything else from it doesn't follow the story at all. So at that point, I think that, the thing that, fans are upset at is, why are you calling him Eric Draven? And that's kind of my issue, is you shouldn't call him that, because clearly this has nothing to do with the book. This has nothing to do with
it's the Crow in name only.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to me, like I said, I saw the trailer and I said, this just looks, like I said, it looks like over stylized, slick, hot topic garbage.
See, and that's the same thing Keith says down below. He says the pieces of the sequel look good, but it looks too glossy and staged, like the two Ghost Rider movies. I agree. Daredevil, also agree. Or Spawn, 100% agree. He wants to see some grit and atmosphere. I agree on that too. I'm
not even saying this compared to the original one, like you said. Yeah. I mean, move past the fact that Brandon Lee died making it, and this is the movie that, even though he'd done movies, that's the movie that was going to make him a star.
Oh, yeah. That movie would have projected him into the outer reaches of the galaxy.
But move past even, I think, comparing it to that, because it doesn't need to be compared to that, because this is its whole separate thing. Yeah. It just, to me, it just doesn't look interesting. It just looks like, all right, yeah, oh, he's edgy because he's got the tattoos, and and he's gonna fight all these mobs. It just it doesn't look like it has any real emotion in it.
Keith also says they need a remake called The Canary, who dresses in yellow and flies into caves full of gas. Send the Canary in there. Let's see how long he lasts up. He's dead. All right, then we're not going in.
If you want, as an interesting, I think interesting side note,
Jeez.
coal miners used to feel so bad for canaries that they actually developed a special cage. So when they would send the canary into the mine to test to see if it was okay for him, and the canary would keel over, they could like seal up the cage and pump oxygen into it to save the canary's life. Because
Wow.
coal miners felt so bad at these canaries dying just to check on stuff for them. Look it up on Google, and you could see the cage designs are
That's
kinda
interesting.
Wow.
Interesting.
Anyways, yeah, I will not be. Tim, you can let us know how the crow is. I will not be going to see it, and I'm going to make a bold prediction now that the movie will be a flop.
What about you, Sonny?
It'll be a spectacular Madam Web style flop, but I think it's going to flop.
Sonny, you want to go see The Crow with me?
So for me, real quick, I see Sal said in the comments that let's remake a Toxic Avenger. I heard they are remaking Toxic Avenger.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah, aren't they making it with Peter Dinklage?
Yeah.
Oh my
Yes,
God.
I don't know why the height. There's a big height difference, I mean, geez. But okay, so about the Crow, for me, normally seeing it, how about I put it, like regular. I was like, oh, like if it was just a different movie, not naming it The Crow, I'd say okay, it's an okay looking action movie. But it's the fact that it's The Crow. I think that it's making it so much hate because and then I get like some of the violence. I'm like maybe they're like really over like to make it seem like this is the more edgy version. But I think it's almost a mistake to. And yes, I was joking, but yes, Toxic Avenger.
They took
really.
you seriously, Sal.
It
So
doesn't have-
serious, they're already making it.
It doesn't have that. It doesn't seem like it's going to have that atmosphere or that presence that the first one did.
The trauma movies? No, definitely.
Yeah, I said
not.
that. Yeah, I mean,
I
that,
meant The Crow.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I'm thinking about Toxic Avenger.
The Toxic Avenger
I
has.
was like, we're not going to see a big budget trauma movie. That's not going to happen.
But yeah, for The Crow, yeah, I do think it seems different. Like if it was a different movie, a different name, it could be better. I think I'd be more invested in it if it was a different thing. It almost reminds me a little bit. I think what they should have done, like they did with this movie, The Shape of Water. The Shape of Water.
I just looked it up on IMDb. The Toxic Avenger has Peter Dinklage, Kevin Bacon, Elijah Wood. What?
Toxic Avenger. We're definitely gonna have to keep up to date with that movie.
There's a trailer for it too. I didn't
Oh
know they
my
did a trailer
God.
already.
Ladies and
Wow.
gentlemen, we will check that out after the show.
Yeah. So yeah, what I'm saying with Shape of Water is that it was Guillermo del Toro was told like, okay, he was gonna make the creature the Black Lagoon, but
Mhm.
because he changed so much, they said, hey, just make your. They didn't want to do it, and he said, okay, I'll make my own movie like the creature the Black Lagoon. So it became The Shape of Water. Won Best Picture. Was a great movie. I think they should have done it with The Crow. Just changed it up.
Keith, you are pulling him out tonight, man. He wants a sequel of The Crow and have all the other people come back with their other crows and call it Crows the Murder.
Crow's the
My
Murder is good.
Lord. Oh my God.
I don't
Maybe
even think
next.
it's bad to call it The Crow. Like you could call it The Crow. It was established that this is something that has happened multiple times. James O'Barr did other Crow comics other than the original.
Mhm.
I read some of them. I didn't think that they didn't come close to touching the original one.
Well, there was a lot of passion in when he wrote.
Yeah, he said that he did the original one because doing the comic was cheaper than therapy.
Yeah.
But he did other ones with other characters. I think the issue is, like I said, that you're calling him Eric Draven, that you're using the same character names when clearly it is completely, completely has nothing to do with the source material for it. Like you were saying, Sonny, it made me think of The Highlander. The Highlander, great movie. The Highlander 2, people shit on it. But if you look at it as its own standalone thing and you go, if this wasn't called The Highlander, if this was just called something else, it'd be like, all right, this would be a cool.
Hello, Pam.
This would be not as spectacular, but this would be a cool, fun sci-fi movie. But because they called it Highlander 2, everyone crapped on it, and rightly so.
Yeah, exactly. That movie was terrible. But
like I said, if you look at it as something that's not the Highlander, because I think it was a script written for something else, and they were
totally different sci-fi movie.
Yeah, it would have been like, hey, this is a fun movie.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now speaking of sequels, now let's talk a bit about X-Men 97. So you guys both did see it.
Waiting for
God,
this.
So I've been waiting all day. I've been waiting. Like I said, the pre-show I was like, okay,
We've
relax.
talked about the Crow enough.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
The Crow. Well, okay, the Crow. He's dead, and he will return. He will return in the summer.
This is plot of the whole movie right there.
Yeah, so there you go. There's the plot. It's X-Men 97. The 2 episodes. And so make sure to watch them back to back. And I know you guys did too. So what did you guys think? And I was seeing a lot of people. I was glad to see. I was seeing mostly positive comments about it. People saying they love it because I know I did. I loved it. I was super happy that it came back.
Sonny, take this time and tell us how you feel. We will listen to you and then give you our opinions after you gush all over this.
Yeah, I wanted you have been. We're all well, not Jamie, but the rest of us are X-Men. But I know
that's not true. Jamie said Cyclops was badass. So
yeah, which I was shocked at. But I know you were the mega fan, so
yeah. What do you got, man?
I want to hear your deep dive into it.
Yeah, so like I said, it was 3 a.m. and I was on my TV ready to watch, and I did, and I loved
refreshing Disney Plus every 10 minutes.
At 2:58, he's like, "Come on,
looking at the clock."
Put it on!
Just me. Yeah, the day 7 p.m. Okay, how many hours I got left? 9 p.m. How many hours?
Wait, God damn it! He's sitting there rocking back in his chair.
It's 3 o'clock somewhere. Jesus, let's go.
So eventually I did get to it. Yeah, and eventually it was 3 after the longest day. It was eventually turned after a 50-hour day. It turned to 3 a.m. and I watched and certain things I want. Obviously, I love like the voice acting. Obviously, they brought some back. Some obviously had to change. Unfortunately, certain voice actors have passed away. Magneto's actor, Cyclops' actor, but especially Cyclops' actor, Ray Chase, sounds a lot like the original actor, Norm Spencer. Yeah,
he sounded spot on.
Yeah, and then I love too how it was. The certain things I'm like, okay, it's a different day and age. Are they going to try to make it too kiddish? I didn't think it was gonna. I wasn't worried about it being too adult. But I liked how it was mature. I think everybody could enjoy it. I think that kids could enjoy it like I did back in the day. Adults could enjoy it. I liked how there was the music. I'm like, not many people are mentioning not just the theme song. Watch both opening themes.
That was one of 2 criteria that Feige had before they even greenlit it. He said, I want the original voice cast, and you have to get the theme song. If neither of those can happen, we're not doing it.
Well, you know why?
Take that comment out.
Probably for the theme song because they had to pay so much money after they got sued for it because they ripped part of it off. They're like, we have paid enough money for this already. You're gonna use it,
right? Yeah, exactly.
So TJ said, how many action figures were harmed during the wait? Those figures are just waiting to be. The figures next to me are just waiting to be fixed. They were not broken.
They were broke. Don't listen to him, ladies and gentlemen. They were mutilated during the wait, and now he has to fix them.
He did to his action figures what the X-Men did to the Sentinels in
well, that wasn't a great scene, but yeah, great scenes all around. I like how it's a little bit longer. I like how even too, like obviously, like I said, the themes, but watch both. So don't skip any because they're a little bit different.
You have to watch the intros for both too.
Yeah, and I like even just during the episodes how they have like dramatic music and they have a lot more. And I know a lot of people were kind of worried about Morph. If you're worried, don't worry. Morph is still a great character. Still love Morph. Love them all. Love all the characters. Yeah. I love the stories. I love how they. Actually, I don't want to give much away because just
how many cameos did Morph alone bring in?
I think it was so cool.
4, 5.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. I don't want to give much away, but yeah, like it was cool how Morph could turn to other characters just to see them, to see the artwork of those characters.
Hey, Morph, give me a bounce. Loved
it. So many great parts, and I love how it continues. And
the end credits where they had the stuff just like they used to have.
Yeah, when it's like the arrow picking them. Yeah.
Yes.
So just awesome all around. Great nostalgia, and two, I think it's awesome for nowadays. And then two, like obviously being close to the comics, especially like X-Men 200. But then obviously little bits of change that I feel were good with the episodes because you can't do everything completely from the comics, so you'd have to go completely too far back. But one thing I saw
that was the good thing about X-Men in the 90s when it was on television is they were able to condense those storylines down into 23 minutes. And even us as teenagers, me anyways, watching it was like, man, they got a lot in there in 23 minutes. They told just about everything. It's amazing.
It wasn't. I think it wasn't until season 3 that they like started really having 2-parter episodes. I know season 2 was the one where they had Xavier and Magneto in the Savage Land. They said the way they got away with that, because the network just wanted standalone episodes, was they had like all that stuff done separately, and then they just put little snippets of it like broken up into the episodes to like kind of keep it going for the whole season. But
yeah, like that they did it with the season to stale, and then like a little bit of Xavier Magneto. The next one, a little more.
Yeah. And then season 2, they started having 2-parters. Season 4, they got into like the big stuff when they did Phoenix and Dark Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 was with Phoenix, and then 4 was with the Beyond Good and Evil. I make sure to watch all the episodes right before I started, so I'm like, it's all fresh on my mind. I'm like, I need to watch it all right before. So even like the day before it premiered,
working as a team.
I will say, rewatching stuff to lead up to it, I forgot how bad the animation was at the end of when they changed animation studios in the animated series at the end. I was like, man, I forgot how bad this animation is. This is just...
So, Sonny, final thoughts on X-Men before Dan and I give ours. What do you think?
So, I absolutely loved it. But one thing I do want to say before is there was a comment to the trailer a few days before it came out. And someone put in the comments, they said, RIP to all the fans who didn't get to live this long to see it. And it really stuck out to me because, like, obviously, yes, it's been, over 20 years. And for me, X-Men, the animated series, is some of the earliest memories I have.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those memories is to me and my brother watching with our dad. My mom being around too, and she'd surprise people with her X-Men knowledge. But, I think my dad was a big fan, and he's someone who passed away a few years ago. So I had to think like that there were many people who were huge fans of the show and didn't get to see it. So I hope in the afterlife they're all able to see it. I was thinking that too. Like, I hope they're all able to check out the show. I know I was super happy and super excited to watch X-Men. And like I said, how I went over the old ones brought back a lot of nostalgia too. Good times. Obviously, awesome episodes still. So I was glad that as an adult watching it, I still loved it. But good nostalgic times too.
Mm-hmm.
And I am really excited to see what else X-Men 97 has to come. I have some predictions, but I feel it might give away certain things that happened. But I think, I'll just say a quick thing, try not to give much away. I think Forge is going to have a big part in a couple episodes to come. So there you go.
I hope so. I think Forge is one of the most underutilized X-Men characters. He's such a great character and has so much that he can offer. And they, and not just in the show, but in the comics, like they so underutilize him.
Keith has got something interesting to say, and then I'll go into my thoughts, Dan, and then you can bring up the rear. Keith says, at first I was annoyed they were playing to nostalgia. Then I realized they seemed to want to avoid the past 20 years of movies and the comics they made emulate it. Plus Bryan Singer and Joss Whedon stuff. I can see that. It's definitely playing into nostalgia a lot, but I think that's more on the lead up and the surface level, at least in my opinion. With what I saw today, an hour and 6 minutes of animation, the animation is phenomenal. The characters, I think, look better than ever before. Having Bishop on the team and Morph back works very, very well. All the voice actors are doing great. Magneto in the costume from the 200s issues, that's fantastic.
But they changed it a little bit too.
Yeah,
remember, because it like both arms that he has in the cartoon are the same length, which I think looks a lot better than it did in the comic.
Yeah, it wasn't one longer than the other.
Yeah.
But it's got a very adult feel, even though it's rated TV PG. It just feels more mature, like you said, Sonny. And you have to watch the intro. You can't skip it because, anytime a new character is brought in, that's a major part, they get their own little bit of title sequence, and you get to see that. We never got to see a Magneto title sequence before. We never got to see a Morph title sequence before. And in between things too, they're throwing in snippets of episodes.
Yeah, like these like Bishop, and
Yeah, falling through
Phoenix,
time and the Phoenix bit and all that stuff. And the twist at the end of episode 2, I loved, and I even yelled at the screen, like, what did I say? No, this isn't a spoiler. But morphs into different characters. There's this part in episode 2 where they're doing things, and you see Lady Deathstrike coming in, and I looked at the screen, I said, holy shit, and I was like, oh, it's Morph, that's awesome. And then he just went into several different other characters. It was great. I loved it. 10 out of 10. I can't wait to see what the rest of the season's going to be, and I know there's 2 more seasons after this. So
yes, I'm
excited.
so happy about that, and especially too after all the positive things I'm already hearing about people saying. I think at least they know it's going to be getting more.
Dan, what about you, man?
Yeah, I really liked it. I got up. I didn't watch it at 3:00 this morning because I'm not a maniac. I was sleeping, but it was about 7:00 or so that I woke up. I couldn't get back to sleep, and I was like, I'm just going to watch it now. And yeah, I really dug it. I like how they the intro, it's clear they re-recorded the theme, but it's the same theme.
Now, I will say this. The only downside I have to the entire show is that they didn't get Power Glove to play the intro. That's all I'll say. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look up Power Glove X-Men theme. You'll agree with me.
They had they did the new animation for the title sequence, but it was the same scenes as before. The villains that they had running there, it's like, oh, okay, they did it where it's actual like characters that belong there, because the original one, it had like Thunderbird there, and
the random little guy.
Yeah, it was what was his name? The Gargoyle or something.
Yeah, I think Gargoyle.
Who was never in it, and I read something where they said like they just kind of threw him in because they needed someone else and they weren't sure who was.
There were a lot to choose from.
Yes, yeah. They said this one, like they doing Lady Deathstrike and Emma Frost.
Yeah, but like the characters made sense in that. Like you said, the guy that did the Cyclops voice in the original shows passed away a few years ago, but the guy that does it now sounds exactly like him.
Yep.
Some of the voices were a bit off. They only got a few of the original cast members. Storm was the same, Wolverine was the same.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them were actually different. Gambit was the same.
Yep.
And I felt like the voices.
Wasn't Rogue the same too, or is it
no, Rogue is different.
Oh,
and
it was similar enough that it didn't throw me off.
I thought her voice was a little higher pitched than the original actress, and there's a couple of them like that. I know they intentionally got a new voice for Jubilee because they wanted an Asian woman to do it because it was a white woman that did it before.
Yep.
But that's such a minor thing because it's something that you'll get used to after a few episodes. Even if you go back to the original series, they change actors on some of the roles, like Magneto, and some of them, a couple times during the show. So, it happens. We'll get used to it. I thought it was super cool, like you said, with Morph, like seeing him change into Archangel and
oh yes.
I like so the cliffhanger at the end of the second episode. Oh, that was
which
great.
I saw coming, by the way. Just putting that out there.
We were talking in the group chat earlier today when Sal was like, "Oh, I watched it. It was great." And Kevin was asking about, if all the episodes were now or once a week.
Yeah.
And I said, I think for this it's good because, one episode a week. Not everybody has time to sit there and binge an entire season at once. And for something like this, people are going to throw spoilers out there so quick. It gives people time to like watch one a week. Plus, it gives you time to sit there and think about it and absorb it. And a cliffhanger ending like that, like actually has a punch to it. Where if you were just immediately went to the next episode, it wouldn't have that same effect. So
I'm very glad we are back to the once a week episodes. Binging was cool. I get it. But after you watch it in a day, what do you got to do now? Now you got to wait 9 weeks to watch all this.
But Cyclops, was a total badass in it.
He
How did
was.
the Avenger Beast fit in with the X-Men? Very well. He didn't
Yeah.
seem to be
That was the same
uncomfortable
actor,
at all.
Yeah, the Beast actor was the same.
Yeah,
I like how they had Cyclops doing his powers, because sometimes it seems like, especially in the comics, that they use Cyclops's optic beams almost like a laser that like heat, and it's like, no, that's not what it is. It's force. So
Yeah.
I liked how they were doing it in there, where he would like
he
look
was
at the ground.
pushing himself around and
Yeah,
everything.
he would he would look at the ground and shoot a quick beam that would like push him back out of the way of something, and then he turn and shoot someone. Like, it was just, and you never even seen that in the comic. I was like, oh, that was so awesome.
It's a great utilization of powers, right?
Yes.
And charging Wolverine's claws. You saw that in the preview
cool.
they released. Yeah, that was amazing.
You think about it, okay, logistically that really shouldn't work because the stuff he charges blows up, but who cares? It's super cool. Awesome. It's super cool. He charged it up, and then they like threw him at the Sentinel. And, oh man, it was total badass. So
great.
Yeah, the animation, the animation was good. I know people were complaining that, especially like with Rogue, that it's not the way.
Ladies and gentlemen, her proportions are just fine in the animated show for kids.
If you're looking to a cartoon for that, there are some other websites that I will not mention here, but have the name Hub in the title that you can go look at, and it'll do you okay.
You can go look at tentacle stuff if you want.
Yeah. So I thought it was great. One downside, I thought it was cool too, that one thing I didn't like about the original series, it did have some cheesiness, especially with a character like Storm, where she'd be like, "Mistress of Rain, come down," and like she'd give like these long speeches when she would do her power, and she did that a little bit in this, but not to the point that it was annoying. Like I felt like it could get in the original series. The stuff with the big twist thing that happened with her was cool. I'm interested to see how that plays out. The original series did have some kind of continuity issues, because like when Angel first appears, it's like the X-Men don't know him at all, and then in later seasons they're like, oh yeah, he was one of the original team. Like, really? Because it seems like they didn't know him at all when he showed up. But it seems like they're gonna have everything established and moving forward. I dug it. The X-Men existed in that whole same animated universe as like Fantastic Four and Spider-Man. So,
and they said there were going to be more cameos throughout all the episodes. So we'll see who shows up. I'm excited about that.
That would be pretty cool. I'm interested to see. I posed the question of the day on the group comic character of the day today. With X-Men 97 premiering, what storylines that have never been done in the animated series would you like to see done in the new series? Because they've already extended it for season 2, season 3. So and there's been a lot that they've done in the comics that they haven't done in the show. So I don't know. I could think of a few storylines I'd like to see.
Yeah. Same here. One I especially would like to see would be Executioner's Song. I'd love to see Strife get more of a spotlight.
Somebody commented Age of Apocalypse, but technically they already did that, because Age of Apocalypse was based on
one man's work
episode. Was based on a 2-part episode of the show. But Executioner's Song would be really good, though. They'd have to bring Xavier back, and they'd have to introduce a lot more characters. Because I don't think they ever used Strife in the original series, did they?
He, I think, showed up in all of 2 or 3 seconds.
So there's Beyond Good and Evil. You see him just literally a cameo. Just you see him inside like a cube. So.
Keith's got a good point here. He says, "I love how they went with the look of Morph from the Age of Apocalypse and the Exiles, but I don't know why they made him keep talking about canceling student debt." I don't know either.
I'd like, I just keep thinking like this is so good, and like thinking of like all these characters I want to see in it. Like I know Nightcrawler's supposed to pop up at some point. Like I'd like to see Colossus. Let's see Kitty Pryde.
Shadowcat, absolutely.
There's Oh, there's so
I've
much
seen
that,
more
like,
Psylocke too.
Yeah.
yeah, Psylocke. I know. Here, I got something for you, Sonny. I know you had talked about possibly bringing back Do You Know? So I've got one for you. When they had the original X-Men the animated series, which was before the live action movies, when they started doing the live action movies, they offered a role in
Hello, Richard.
Hello, Richard.
Hello,
They
Richard.
offered a role in the movie, in the first one, to the actor that did the voice of the character in the animated series, but they had to turn it down because of a prior commitment. Do you know which actor they wanted to play their counterpart in the movie?
I will say Norm Spencer played Cyclops.
Do you want to take a guess?
I have no clue, so no.
It was David Emblem that played Magneto,
Oh,
and he had to turn it down because of the TV show he was doing at the time, which I can't remember the name of. But I read that they offered him the role of Magneto in the movie, and he had to turn it down.
I don't remember if the Brood showed up in the original cartoon. I want to say that they did, but
So they were-
I'm unsure.
They
I'm
were
pretty
in
sure
a
they-
Mojo one. So it
Yeah,
was just
they
like
were
a
just
Mojo
like,
movie, but yeah, not like a
okay. They
true Brood story.
yeah, they were like just kind of in the crowd, right? Like
Got
they
it.
didn't do a Brood episode.
So it was like the Mojo one, like each character or two were having like their own like kind of movies. Like
Mhm.
with the Wolverine and Jean were fighting like the Punisher, which is really a robot, where Beast and Rogue, their movie was like fighting the Brood. But like I said,
Got
it was a
okay.
Mojo thing, so it wasn't a true like Brood saga.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I would like to see a Brood story.
Yeah, that would be cool. Maybe see some other X teams. I guess they kind of had X Factor a little bit.
Yeah,
They had Valerie
animated
Cooper
series.
in there, so
Yeah,
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 that's
and
more
then-
X Factor.
yeah.
Excalibur, I think would be cool too.
mhm.
yeah, Excalibur would be cool. The New Mutants, they introduced a couple of them in the animated series. Sunspot they had in this, and I remember when they cast the actor that plays Sunspot. What was it, like a year ago?
Yeah,
There
people
was
threw a
so much-
fit.
People were throwing a fit because they said they were whitewashing the role. It's like they cast a
Brazilian.
They cast a Brazilian guy to play a Brazilian guy. Like,
No.
come on.
Jeez.
I
He's
really
not
hope we don't see people
Brazilian
complaining.
enough.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
people just sometimes you gotta enjoy, Yeah,
But
especially like I
overall,
said,
yeah.
a Brazilian man to play a Brazilian man. I don't see any problem with it.
hmm
So yeah, it was really good, and I'm super excited for next Wednesday.
Same here.
TJ
3 a.m. next
have to
Wednesday.
Turn in his X card now.
Well, we might be able to save you because we still have a lot more X talk to do.
So far on Wednesdays, it's going to be good Wednesdays for the next few months because we're going to have new episodes of X-Men and continuing to have new episodes of the Bad Batch
hmm
every Wednesday.
And the Codex podcast.
And
Yeah,
the
there you go.
podcast.
After dinner, after the news, turn us on.
Yeah.
And we'll turn you on.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. Well, speaking of turning on, I think it's a good time that we move on to our random panel of the week.
Ah, okay. Do you want to get sponsors out of the way now or after this?
No, I might as well do it now.
Okay, we'll do this first.
Okay, random panel then now.
Oh, well, I can't hear nothing. Let's do this. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so it is random panel. Okay, so here we are.
Yeah.
Random panel of the week. Storm she's talking to Kitty Pryde. On the picture you can't see it, but yeah, she's talking to Kitty Pryde, and she says, "So far as I know, Kitty, I am one of a kind, and so are you." No, something else, Kitty. Have you ever heard of the X-Men? But the thing is that we see that Storm's eating some delicious looking ice cream. But the big thing is that in the background, you see Wolverine and Colossus, and Wolverine's looking at a certain magazine, and it looks like the last letters are STLER. Might be a certain Hustler magazine.
Colossus is very concerned.
He's like, whoa.
The look on Colossus's face and the look on Wolverine's face, and then over on the left, the look on the guy behind the counter's face.
Yeah.
Bird
They're
did
just
a
looking
great
at him.
job with that panel.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, guys, take it outside.
Yeah. And this was part of a huge story because this was in X-Men issue 129, and that was the first part of the Dark Phoenix saga.
Oh,
Yes, this is when she was
okay.
talking with Kitty Pryde. And Kitty, the reason what she was saying before, when Storm was saying, like, she was asking about her, and Kitty's like, "Is it because you're black and have those bright blue eyes?" And Storm, that's when she's like, "No, it's not about that. Why I'm different." And that's so that's what leads to this conversation.
Wow.
And here's that comic right there, where it's
I mean,
from.
There you go.
it's also the first appearance of Kitty Pryde. It's the first appearance of the White Queen.
Larry Flint, that is exactly correct.
Played by Woody Harrelson.
That is right. Yeah. His wife played by
Courtney Love.
Courtney
yeah.
Love. There you go. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but here we go. Random panel. I thought it was a funny one, especially too. Yeah, I like how we put it in the chat. I'm like, here's the full panel, and Sal was like, "Oh, I thought you were going to show the full panel of what Wolverine was looking at." Maybe on After Dark.
If I can find it, it'll go up there.
Yeah, we should search it. What Hustler magazine was Wolverine looking at in X-Men issue 129?
Byrne will be like, I don't know.
Maybe somebody will. They'll be like, okay, well, it came out in this month. So in this month, the Hustler
Wow.
magazine was so-and-so. So the model he's looking at is... And they'll know.
Ladies and gentlemen, I will have that information for you next Wednesday.
All right. Or an After Dark. Hey.
Sure. Yeah, there you go.
And maybe you've showed the picture in After Dark. But to cover, you may just have to pick Codex symbols over.
Absolutely. The whole thing.
But yeah, guys, so always random panel of the week. Always good fun. Like I said there, I put it in the thing. I said, what's Wolverine in the schedule? I said, what's Wolverine reading? But it's more like what's Wolverine looking at, because I doubt he was reading. But no one Colossus. Colossus might be the type. He's a very good guy. I love how they did him in Deadpool, how they made him.
Yes.
He might be the type to look and then actually read the article.
There's a very good article in here. That's a terrible Russian accent.
Well, all right.
There's a good article in here about how to fix radio.
And we got a comment before. All these cards getting revoked.
Pam says her Hustler card is revoked. Don't worry about that, Pam. Penthouse has comic books out now, so you can re-invoke your card for that.
Yeah, there's also this thing called the internet. You don't even have to buy magazines anymore. You can just look things up.
Oh my God. Moving along.
Moving along to some sponsors.
There you go.
Right. Tim, how do you get the energy to look at all of those hundreds of Hustler magazines you have?
Well, I do a lot of push-ups in the morning. I put a wrist brace on to make sure that this is warm and safe. I sit on it for a little while, do the strange, But other than that, I might go over to W Energy, W.GG, ladies and gentlemen. You can save 10% on your order there by using keyword code -X at checkout. Super awesome energy drink. We all love it. Nobody hates it. No crash, no bad aftertaste, just pure awesome goodness. And you can save 10% by using keyword code -X at checkout. That is W.GG, ladies and gentlemen.
And they got a new flavor, cherry limeade, which I'm very excited to try.
There you go. And also, ladies and gentlemen, we have another sponsor for today's episode. That would be Comic Logic. You know it. You love it. Uncle Gary is one of the proud co-owners of Comic Logic, ladies and gentlemen. And they are Loudoun County, Virginia's only comic book store. Right there's the address. If you are in the area, head on over there and check out the events down below. So April 20th, they will have their 9th anniversary. The entire Comic Logic team is going to be there to celebrate, and you need to be also Also, they are having free comic book day. It's on May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. Also, Star Wars Day. And they're going to have somebody super cool and awesome there to sign. And that would be Brendan Wayne. He is the grandson of John Wayne. He's going to be signing stuff. And you know him as the man in the suit on The Mandalorian. When the helmet is on, Brendan Wayne is on screen. And also, they are going to have their LotCon 2, ladies and gentlemen. And that LotCon is May 19th. Don't miss out on all the fun. Head over to Comic Logic. Right there is the address. Uncle Gary and the rest of the Comic Logic crew are there ready to greet you.
And me and Sal went to the last LotCon they had. It was a lot of fun.
There you go. Yeah.
We both took our kids. It was fun.
Okay, right on. Sonny, got one more
Should we
thing I
not
want to
play?
go over as far as Codex is concerned, if you're okay with that.
More than okay. Some big stuff with Codex. So I will let you take it away, Tim.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got some super awesome news for you right now. So we hit the 3,000 watch hours mark for Codex. Thank you very, very much. We could not have done it without you at all. Even though Dan had it playing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, we still needed your help. And thank you very much for helping us get there. So what that means now is that we went through the review process. It said it could take up to a couple of weeks. It took 24 hours. And we are now set for super chats, super thanks, stickers, the shopping experience, and memberships will be coming at you very, very soon. For those of you in the chat right now and those of you watching later at home, Richard, thank you very much, man. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We worked super hard to bring awesome content to you guys, and you guys followed through and watched it like champions, and we love you all for it. But for those of you in chat right now, super chats, super thanks are open, and they will be open on every live program from here forward. So that means tonight's episode of the podcast, Comic Character of the Week, and Comics Unleashed on Codex After Dark. So that's Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, ladies and gentlemen. If you feel like you want to support the channel in a monetary fashion, you can do super chats and things like that, and we would be more than happy and very grateful and humbled if you did that. Obviously, it is not something that you have to do. That is entirely up to you if you want to perform that type of obligation. But we are going to be offering memberships, and memberships should be available by this weekend. Jamie and I still have a couple of things that we need to finish up and polish and make look real nice for you guys. TJ, thank you very much, man. Absolutely. Like I said, we couldn't have done it without you guys getting us to that point. But memberships are coming this weekend. The price point that we have, I think, is very comfortable for everybody. It's going to be $3.99, the price of a comic book, once a month, if that's something that you want to do. And that price will never change. It'll always stay like that. And we got as many perks as possible to give to you guys. And I know Jamie will have more information for that for you this weekend on Comics Unleashed live on Saturday at 11 o'clock. So
I'm going to throw a spoiler out there. One of the perks is that once a month, Sal will come to your house. If you are within a 100 mile, if you're in a 100-mile radius of Sal, he will come to you and give you a 5-minute foot massage.
That would be amazing. I guess I'm
gonna be 99 miles away and make
I'm moving.
I might have foot massage.
Let's do it. Pam,
They're
count
like,
you in for.
I'm 99 and a half miles away. Meet me here. It's going to be in the parking lot of a McDonald's.
Pam, is that for the Codex memberships or the Sal Foot Rub? We need to know this, because if that's what it takes to get you to be a Codex member, then it'll be added. So just let us know. All right, ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you so much for all the help and support and the love you've given to us. Everybody in the chat, the mainstayers and the people that are new coming in on the daily basis. We love you all, and we are very excited. We get excited to see you guys in there. Richard, TJ, Pam, Big Marv, Eternal, and the list goes on. We love seeing you guys. We love communicating with you. We love talking to you. Oh, Pam says, wait, I typed that before the foot rub part. Okay, so the Codex membership. Got it. All right.
Pam didn't say no to the foot massage though. So
Well, TJ is coming in the rear, I think. He says, or to rest area. I hear a lot of freaky things go on there, like Sal foot rubs. There you go. TJ, when you get one from Sal, let us know how it goes. So that way we can avoid that rest area too.
Yep, he'll just roll up in the slab mobile. Be like, got the baby oil, let's get it done.
Is this going to be a 9.8 massage or a 9.4? You let me know. All right, ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you so much. Getting to this milestone has been a dream come true for everybody here, and we're not done yet. We got to get to 4,000 watch hours so we can unlock the ads on our videos and things like that. And I know you guys won't care about that because you'll do what everybody else does and skip after it lets you skip, but you've watched it. The amount of time that YouTube requires, so that way we get 2 cents. But either way, thank you very much,
thank you,
ladies and gentlemen. You guys are awesome and amazing.
Yes, thank you. I said, I remember, back in episode 1 with Jamie, when we were like, we had somebody commented, one person commented, and we're like, we had 3 views. So it truly is appreciated, and it truly is so good to have so many people in the comments.
Yeah,
and everyone, for us to be interacting with each other. And like I said, all these watch hours, they all helped us lead. They led us to the 3,000 mark.
I wonder if anybody in the chat can answer this. I doubt they'll be able to. But Sonny, do you know where Codex made its first full appearance?
Hulk 180.
Oh, God almighty. That's so good, but you're wrong. It was Hulk 181 because Hulk 180 was a cameo, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, but it was not a cameo, so
Incorrect.
Hulk 181 was our first cover.
Oh, there you go. That's right. First cover appearance. Sorry.
You can't see us because we were wearing red, so we kind of blend in.
Blend into the background.
We're there.
TJ says Hulk 180. Unfortunately, TJ, you're wrong. It is Hulk 181. Sorry.
Well, arguing with the fans.
I digress. All right, what's next, Sonny?
Sometimes I wonder, who is X-Men's #1 fan? Who is Codex's #1 fan? But one thing I know is we've got another F-lister. Today, joining the F-list is #1 fan.
Okay, let's see here. This one's the best one to start.
Here he is. His #1 fan. And there he is, a man with that says #1 fan. He has fan hands. Big, yeah. And
I wonder if they ever made an action figure of him.
Ooh.
If he did, Sonny probably destroyed it.
I said I don't think it would have lasted long in my toy collection. Yeah, there was like even 2. He's got the white mustache. He's got the crazy old hair.
This next picture is kind of spoiler heavy, though.
Ooh, there he is. See, listen, why don't we continue this when you're in a better mood? Right down the middle.
Done.
It even cut his fan.
Did it?
Yeah.
Look. Oh, yeah, sure enough. Lord, poor guy. Okay.
He's pretty jacked for an old guy, though. Especially like he's got no hands, so I don't know how he's doing push-ups or lifting weights.
Yeah, how could he lift weights with those blades, his hands?
Maybe they're just really heavy.
Well,
he's a really big Beyblade fan,
I guess.
Who would like to go? Who thinks they know the history of #1 fan?
Do you know anything about this character at all?
I know nothing about him. You want a paper, rock, scissors to see who gets to do it?
All right, you ready?
Scissors and scissors.
1, 2, 3, go. Oh, shit. Do that again. Ready?
No, I won.
No way. That was a delayed reaction. Best out of 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Are we doing it on 3 or?
No, you do 1, 2, 3, shoot.
Lame. Ready? 1, 2, 3, shoot. Okay, that's 1. Now, one more. 1, 2, 3, shoot. That's 2. All right. Go ahead, Dan.
Wow, wasn't that some
Dan's calling best of 5, guys. No.
$3.99. You can get all this and more.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen.
$3.99.
$3.99
We'll play paper, rock, scissors with you individually. You can
live
pick
on
who you
air.
wanna go against. All right, so number one fan. You want to throw up some of those pictures again?
Yeah, I got you. Here we go. We'll start with this one.
All right, so as you can see, he's yelling out number one fan because he was listening to Pink Floyd, and he was like, "Oh my God, this music is just blowing my mind. I am their number one fan," to the point that he removed his hands and had fan blades put there so that he could use them to fly from city to city so that he would not miss a concert. And then, unfortunately, yeah, you see, there he is saying, like, I'm the number one fan, and he's, cutting all the other fans out of the way so he can get to the front of the line. So, so that he can sing along to Another Brick in the Wall, part 2. So he can get David Gilmour to see him. And then, unfortunately, when we get to the last picture here, as we know, Pink Floyd has a lot of laser stuff in their show. One of the lasers went too far, and it sliced him in half. And and then he was no more, and they lost their number one fan. And then after that, they were lost, and they just stopped recording and touring.
He got sliced from chode to node.
Yep, and he just Roger Waters said, F this, you can't be around, you can't be a fan of them anymore. And
this was also how they got the idea for the cover of Division Bell.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
What was his first appearance, Dan?
Oh, his first appearance was Saucer Full of Secrets, because he heard Piper at the Gates of Dawn, and he was like, "Oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever." Didn't think I could pull that one out, did you?
Oh my God!
Good job, Dan. An even better story than the actual story of number one fan. He's. I'll just, before we see that comment, I'll say, Dan, he's not that cool. He's not as cool as you made him out to be.
Oh
no,
he's way less cool.
Keith says, "Is his voice all distorted with reverb so it sounds like Darth Vader? That'd be amazing." Luke, I am your father.
That's what he does when he's got the blade spinning along.
Yeah, by his mouth. Yeah, every time the blade by his mouth.
It was ironic because right when he was cut in half was when he was singing along to Comfortably Numb, and then
done.
Wow. He didn't become Comfortably Numb. He became 2. But okay, I'll give you a little bit of the history on Rick Chalker, number one fan.
Even his real name sucks.
Oh yeah. But guess what? Sometimes his own family members call him Mick Chalker. Maybe they forget his name. He was also called Professor Rick Chalker. His relatives, are you ready for this? Vic Chalker, his brother, and Dick Chalker, who was his cousin and possibly his half-brother. Yes, there's the Chalker family.
Dick Chalker, that sounds like the name of a 70s porn star.
Well, it's been said that the Chalker family on Marvel, that fandom says the Chalker family seems to be restructured via remarriage, half-brothering, as Vic is both Rick and Dick's brother, but these two are cousins. Dick even called his dead cousin Mick.
Yeah. My lord.
So, he is, as you saw from the picture with the laser, Rick.
Was he from the Tick?
I wouldn't be surprised, with all these icks.
Other than Pink Floyd, his favorite singer is Dionne Warwick.
My lord.
I wouldn't be surprised, yeah.
And he shaves with a Bic.
Everything is icky with Rick Chalker. He was created by Peter David and Mark Pocella, and his first appearance is in X Factor 83.
Of course it is.
I happen to have it in one of the X Factor Visionaries, which I was reading last night. I had to pass some of the time before X-Men, but he's in one page. Did
you say, Sonny? 83?
Yeah.
Yep, X Factor 83. Dan's got the first appearance of number one fan.
He's going to dig it out.
So number one fan is mad that his brother his big brother Vic died. There we go.
The
Yep,
issue.
that
Oh,
is the
wow.
issue. See, Dan, here's the actual comic. I have the Visionaries. Trade paperback. So he's mad and he's talking about, he's going to avenge his brother. Vic also died accidentally. Like Vic was making a machine and he's like, oh, I'm going to kill mutants. And then he accidentally messed up and the machine killed his brother. So then Rick Chalker, #1 fan, comes along and he says, I'm going to avenge my brother. And then he goes to leave and he realizes he can't get out the door because he has 2 blades in his hands. And then they didn't show how violent it was, but I'll read what it says.
Yes.
There we go.
My lord.
There we go. And Dan's showing it. So he goes to smack his head like, oh, I'm so dumb, but he doesn't have hands to smack his head. So this is from the comic.
Darn it.
It even says, for the benefit of younger readers and faint-hearted stockholders, we are refraining from explicitly showing that the now late Professor Rick Chalker angrily slapped his forehead, forgetting he had no hands, but instead razor-sharp blades. Sorry, gore lovers. Thank you, the management.
My God.
But that was not it.
There's more?
Because, yes, his mutant cousin, Dick Chalker, a.k.a. Carnivore, swore to avenge them.
Of course.
And then he got hit by a car. But then eventually he was resurrected by Chiron alongside with his brother cousin, all that for X Factor Annual 8, which I have in this one. And then they battle X Factor. He tries to fight Quicksilver, and obviously he does not do very good against him. He can't hit him. And accidentally he hits Vic. And Vic even says, you idiot, you stupid fool. And he says, hey, I'm sorry. It was an accident. And then, his brother's like, just get out of my way. I'll take care of this with my laser. And then it's that last panel you see there.
Unfortunately so, Pam.
Yes, Pam, it is real. X Factor issue 83 and X Factor Annual 8.
How is this guy not in the MCU, Richard? That is a very valid question.
And then he hit him with the laser and he took him out quick.
Yep, would you show that laser picture?
You got it.
And there we go. There's when his own cousin hit him with the laser on accident. See, his cousin Vic was angry at him, and that's when he said, listen, why don't we continue this when you're in a better mood?
My God.
Sliced in half with the laser.
Done.
Even Wolfsbane said, he lasered him in half. That's horrible. And Quicksilver said, I agree. For that amount of stupidity, nothing less than drawing and quartering should have sufficed. His brothers, cousins, all of them were killed. And after X Factor 8, there was no more of that Chalker family. No more #1 fan.
They're done.
He's dead. And
you mean they weren't going through the resurrection protocols on Krakoa?
They did not get there yet.
TJ, Dan, this is for you. He says, hang on to that issue. It may help send your daughter through college. It will be worth a fortune one day. It's absolutely true.
I agree.
Oh my God, I so want to see
agree.
somebody do a cosplay of this now.
Oh, man, it'd be so good. We need that.
Oh, my Lord.
But I think no matter, regardless if there's cosplays, like his action figures, he could have shirts.
Yeah.
So much for Rick Chalker, #1 fan. But we have
the worst part of his prison cell was the guards kept daring each other to stick their fingers through the
I feel like this character was created like somebody like smoked some crystal meth and watch Edward Scissorhands be like, I know what to do now.
That's a good idea. Peter, listen to me. Listen. Just imagine a guy with fans for hands. Go on. I'm listening.
I'm listening.
And he goes
like
to slap
what
his
I'm
own
hearing
head.
here.
The whole family, they are #1 fans and they kill each other in stupid ways or themselves.
And they're all gonna their first names are all gonna sound the same. We got Vic and Nick and Dick
and Rick and Mick.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, Rick, who they accidentally called Mick, his own cousin brother.
Concept.
Call him that. Yeah.
Stanley, just bear with me. Oh my God.
You see those scissors you were holding? I've got an idea.
Hold those up again. I have this great idea. Oh my man. God. All right.
Always fun with the F list. Rick Wagner, Rick Chalker,
Yeah.
number one
He tried
fan.
to make his actually have like a cool sounding name.
Yeah, Rick Chalker, number one fan. I'm not his number one fan.
No.
I say he does not leave the F list. I say he and his blade hands stay right in the F list. And what do you
Well,
guys think?
Since he's cut in half, I don't think he'll ever get out of the F list.
Dan, you have his first appearance.
Ooh,
Could be a few
yeah,
fortune one day. Do you
I got
think he
his
gets out of the F list?
I've got his first appearance and I've got his last appearance. And
So double
I don't-
fortune.
I don't think there'll be another appearance. Yeah, I think he is buried so far on the F list. He's on like the Z list. He's the guy that the other F listers look at and go like, "Man, are you lame as shit or what?"
Holy cow!
Exactly.
Thursday,
Number one fan, how'd you get way down there?
Ruby Thursday is like, I may have a red ball for a head, but at least I have hands, you moron. He's like to pick things up and move them around.
Oh my
Like,
god!
how do you wipe your ass?
Take my hand. Oh yeah. Oh, he doesn't. I'm gonna be
Like, what do you
surprised if
do
he
when you
doesn't.
have to go to the bathroom and you're standing at the urinal? Be like, oh god damn it!
Oh,
Hey
yeah.
Rick, come over here. This is your help me out here, man.
You
The
hear
thing is,
that?
he did it to
No!
himself.
You just hear way in the background. Oh hell no, man! Not doing that again. Just pitch yourself like you did
I
before.
got hands for hands.
I
You
guess he just
should
goes
have
in his
thought of
pants.
that before you did that, moron.
Oh my god.
Maybe that's why he wears a yellow outfit.
Ah, there
You
you
can't
go.
tell what's going
clever.
on there.
Clever.
So that is number one fan.
Wow.
He stays in the F list with his
Yeah.
blade hands that he gave to himself. He did it to himself, so he's no one to blame truly but himself.
This is
So
such
what?
a-
So what is his mutant power if he gave himself blade hands?
Like that's actually yeah. So I don't even know if you really consider him a mutant. So he's a mutant hater though. But yeah, so he really is just a guy who gave himself blade hands.
He's like, I'm gonna fight these mutants. What are you gonna do? I'm gonna lop off my hands and put fan blades on there, and someone's hand and be like, yeah, all right.
Lord.
And they didn't really ever go into detail about who he was the number one fan of. I guess it was his brother Vic,
Himself?
because he said
His
I'll avenge my big brother Vic. And
Wouldn't
that
it
was
be
the only person he's a fan of.
Wouldn't it be fantastic if someone on his costume had a little pull chain, like the pull chains that are on fans where you could pull them to make the fan go, faster or slower? If he just had a little pull chain on him,
Quick,
that's
pull
how you
my
beat him.
chain.
That's how you beat them. The fans are going. You just pull the little chain, and then
I'm
they stop.
furious.
Oh,
Richard says he's embarrassed they share the same name.
There's other cool. There's Rick James. There's Rick James, the singer.
There you go.
There's Rick Jones.
There's Dick Grayson.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's many characters.
Hmm.
But then there's also, you could always remember for the rest of your life that you have the name of Rick Chalker, number one fan.
There's the greatest name in sports that I can't believe he goes by the first name Dick. Dick Trickle.
Dick Trickle. Oh my god.
If that was my name, I'd be like, you could call me Richard.
Mr. Trickle. little dribbly out there. That's not making Richard feel any better. God, come on, guys. We can do better.
Okay. We're sorry, Richard. You know what? Next time we'll have a different F lister, and I'll try to pick one whose name is not Rick.
Yeah, we will.
But we'll see. Because I technically just look at him and then I pick him, and then later I see that their real name is this.
That's what you get if you become a subscriber to us. Is we'll pick an F lister with the same name as you.
Perfect. Another great thing that Codex membership offers, ladies and gentlemen, right there. Not only live rock, paper, scissors, but we'll pick an F lister with your name.
Yeah, you know how we used to do the D&D on here? We're gonna forego continuing that, and we're just gonna have a rock, paper, scissors championship.
I don't think that's gonna make Richard feel any better.
Richard Dreyfuss.
Oh, there's a good one, Richard Dreyfuss.
Or the interview he did with Bill Maher, where he's falling off the chair. If you haven't seen it, ladies and gentlemen, go watch it. It's the most surreal thing you'll ever see in your life.
I'm gonna have
Bill
to.
Maher is such a douche.
But before we jump on other things, when we talk about rock, paper, scissors, we already know what number one fan would always pick.
Yes.
Yeah, he can't win that either.
Paper.
and then he loses. Yeah, and then he loses, and he goes to slap his head, and again cuts his head off.
Oh,
So see, you covered scissors this week. So the next 2 weeks, you got to have F listers that cover rock and that cover paper.
oh my God.
We might be able to pull that in. You know, I'm sure there's some characters with that. Yeah. But Uncle Gary, though, I have a special somebody for him, especially because of all the heavy flow talk. I said I found another Savage Dragon, and I said
Oh.
this one
Oh my
is
God.
specifically for Uncle Gary.
Are we ready for the review?
I mean, you could do
Yes.
Savage Dragon characters every week and be good for like the next eternity.
Wow.
Eric
For the
Larson
rest of the
comes
year,
up
at
with-
least.
Eric Larson comes up with. I mean, but he intentionally makes these characters late.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. But yes, Tim, like you were saying, it's time we move on from the F list and we get to our review. And today, on the episode of the Codex Podcast, we are reviewing the Uncanny X-Men 153, Kitty's Fairy Tale, and as usual,
Here it
Tim
is.
Morse will start us off with credits.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sonny doing his best William Shatner, and he's doing a really good job. Uncanny X-Men number 153, ladies and gentlemen, written by Chris Claremont, pencils by Dave Cockrum, inks by Joe Rubenstein, colors by Glannis Wine, and letters by Tom Orzechowski.
Okay, I'll give us a little run through of the story. So this X-Men one-shot takes place a little after the X-Men had a fight with the Inner Circle, in which the X-Mansion was damaged. So in the beginning, everyone's putting it together, doing their work. Colossus is putting things together. So it was Wolverine and Cyclops. And then eventually Colossus goes, well, he's told by Kitty, like, hey, Ileana needs to be put to bed. So he goes there to tell her story, but she wants Kitty to tell a story. So hence why it's Kitty's fairy tale. She's telling how how Kitty is a pirate, and Colossus is her love in this story. And then they see others, like they see this magician, this man, or this wizard, Xavier, with his prince friend, Cyclops, and they're about to be robbed. And this is probably my favorite part of the story, is when the wizard Xavier is talking when they're about to be robbed, and he says, I warn you, sir, I am a wizard. We both possess powers. And the guy says, me too, Baldy, and punches him right in the face. I admit that did make me laugh.
When he turns him upside down.
Yeah.
Yeah, then he's turned upside down. Just his mustache, everything's hanging down. But then, Kitty Pryde helps them out. And then eventually we get to the villain of the story. We see it as Dark Phoenix. And then they do a bit of battling. Eventually, as she's telling this story, more and more X-Men start to listen to it. Wolverine and Nightcrawler here. And Nightcrawler's like, shh, don't tell. I don't want her to hear me. And then they're listening. And there's even a part where Kitty Pryde, in her dream, she is having a dream. What does it even say? It says that minutes later, Kitty was enjoying a nifty and very naughty dream when something plopped out of nowhere onto her stomach, and it was the little Bamf. It was Nightcrawler. It's the little one. And they're talking. He joins the team, and then so there's the Fiend with no name, who was like Wolverine, but a very different version. And he even says, "I'm mean," and he's just like eating. He takes like a can of pop or something, and he just
That was a
it.
beer.
Probably a beer. Yeah,
Like,
you're
he
right,
puts the whole can in his mouth and then spits it out empty.
Yep.
Yeah. The powers of mean Fiend with no name, who was really like Wolverine. And then, like I said, more X-Men joining, and we see it this time also because Storm was recovering from her battle with the Inner Circle, that Carol Danvers made an appearance in there, and then the two of them start listening to this story. Eventually, Xavier and Cyclops start listening, and then we see that Storm was a genie in the story, and she told that it was the Dark Phoenix who put her into the bottle, and then also we see Lockheed, but Lockheed is more like the Blackbird.
Mhm.
And they have a bit of arguing. Even Wolverine says, I'll get Lockheed going, and gives him a little poke. But eventually they continue to battle. And it's a quick story. And then eventually it does have a nice ending. And one thing I did like is that Cyclops does say thank you for giving that nice happy ending. And it even says that somewhere, throughout the multiverse, everything, well, maybe they didn't use, they say myriad dimensions. And they say that Cyclops feels, I'll just read it, yeah. There are myriad dimensions, an infinite number of alternate realities. Somewhere, somehow, Scott knows the lovers did, Cyclops and Jean, the lovers did indeed live happily ever after, and for that, he is content. So we'd
Mhm.
say that the story did make Cyclops happy, and at this time, Phoenix Jean Grey was dead,
Yeah.
after the Dark Phoenix saga. So that's why it was nice to see, especially those who were reading it, like let's say going through all the stories, or at the time if they read it when it first came out, a nice story where they got to have that nice ending. So for me, I say this is a good one shot. Usually for story, I do like the artwork, even the changes for the fairy tale. I get
Mm.
it. Thought the characters are written well. I say it's a good story. Usually well, let's see, when you're in a big story, there's a big story arc. Sometimes you get a story in between that doesn't really push a series too forward or anything. And a lot of times I'm like, do I really care? Or sometimes when I've read stories, it's so and so's just telling a story. Usually I don't care for them too much, but this one I enjoyed. This one I think was good, and like I said, I liked the happy ending a lot. And throughout it, Kitty Pride, I think she did do a good job of telling a nice story to Ileana, and then of course the rest of the X-Men. For me, I say this isn't a must read, but it's a fun read. If you feel like, let's say, if you don't want to read a huge story arc, this is a fine story to just come back to and say, you know what, I'll read this one issue. It goes by fast. For me, everything with this issue is good. And I, Sonny Kruger, on the Codex podcast with the Codex Station, give the Uncanny X-Men 153 Kitty's Fairy Tale 7.5 out of 10. For me, all around, good story.
Okay. I'll go next, Dan, since you picked this one. I thought that this was a fun and charming story. Like you said, Sonny, after these big events, there's usually one, maybe two issues that are just kind of filler issues that don't really forward the plot too much, if at all, or just are unnecessary until they get to the next big event. This is a healthy breath of fresh air, especially during this point in the X-Men. A lot of major things are happening. A lot of characters that eventually become big or big right off the bat are getting introduced at this time. I mean, 10 issues before, 11 issues before, you had the Days of Future Past storyline. You have the White Queen coming in, you have Dazzler coming in, you have the Hellfire Club, the Inner Circle, all this other stuff. It's
Right after this was the Brood Saga.
yeah, exactly. So
Carol
I mean,
Danvers had just lost her powers recently.
yeah,
Yeah.
all kinds of major stuff. So an issue like this that's self-contained, 23 pages with ads is welcome, and it's done really well. This gives Kitty Pride the whole issue to shine, and you get to see her, a teenager on the team, using her imagination to put Peter's sister Ileana to sleep. She's terrified about if the inner circle is going to come back and wreak havoc again, and Peter's trying to calm her down, and he says, Kitty, tell her a story, and she goes right into it, and it's great. I love it. The artwork is great. Dave Cockrum's artwork, I mean, he's classic on X-Men. Chris Claremont, there's nothing more that really needs to be said. Uh, Beyond the fact that he is the quintessential X-Men writer. Pam, you've got it right here. I read that so many times when I was a kid. It's a good one. Absolutely,
Nice.
it is. It's a wonderful, beautiful, fun, charming story. Is it something that you should read over and over again? Pam thinks so, and I'm inclined to agree. This is something that on a rainy day or late at night, when you're by yourself or whatever, and you want to read a comic, but you don't want to get invested in a major, large storyline, by all means, grab this issue, sit down and read it, and it'll make you feel as good as it did the first time. So with that, artwork, I give an 8 out of 10. Writing, I give an 8 out of 10. This issue doesn't try to set the stage for a major catastrophe down the road. It does exactly what it's supposed to do, from first page to last, and the cover says it all. And now for something completely different, and absolutely. So overall, this gets a well-earned, well-deserved 8 out of 10 from me.
Okay, and Dan, you picked this out. I see you got it next to you.
Yeah, we're doing Colossus for Character of the Week tomorrow, and I was digging through my X-Men box, flipping through, looking for Colossus covers, and I came on that, across that one, and he's not, he's on the cover, but he's, not like a huge focus of it.
Mhm.
And I know you had, when you had said, I asked you what the reading was going to be, and you said we'll pick a one shot. I had, like I said, it was just a day or two before I had seen that, and I was like, well, how about this book? This is a nice standalone story. I know that Sonny is a big X-Men fan,
Yeah.
and
Perfect for this episode with everything X-Men.
yeah, I didn't even think about that at the time, but yeah, it fits in with that. And I'll agree with you guys. Like, it's a nice palate cleanser that you need every once in a while, especially for something like X-Men, which was as great as it was with Claremont's run, would have all these big storylines and major things happening. Excuse me. It's nice to just have a nice low-key story every once in a while. He said it's a fun story to read. You don't really have to know what's going on before it or after it. You can just sit down, read it. It'll put a smile on your face. It's of all the stuff he did, it's probably, if you wanted to say kid friendly, for like a little kid, like it's a nice, fun fairy tale adventure kind of book. The little, Nightcrawler's a little Bamf is cool. The Wolverine is like this little Tasmanian devil guy is funny. And
Lockheed is the giant, huge dragon.
Yeah, and this was about a dozen or so issues before Lockheed first appeared in the comics. So it kind of makes me think, like, did they do that and think, like, hey, you know what? It would be kind of cool to have a little dragon guy there, too. Because you look at Lockheed's design when he's introduced, and it's kind of just a smaller version of what they did in this in purple. But, yeah, it's a nice book. It's got a happy, the story has a happy ending, the way that stories like that should. I think it was good to see the X-Men just like with some downtime. You got to see them just kind of interacting really as like a family, which is what they were at that point. It wasn't, fate of the world type of stuff.
Right. And Keith makes a good point here. He says, I'd imagine the writers and artists too would want a nice break between major stories to relax a bit that month. Yeah, have a little fun.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the artwork by Dave Cockrum is beautiful. Dave Cockrum, he co-created a lot of these, most of the characters that are in this. All the, he co-created all the new X-Men. So, Storm, Nightcrawler, them, like those are his, his guys.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a super fun book. Like I said, you just sit down, read it, have, put a smile on your face. Overall, I'd say I'd rate it a 9 out of a 10. Just a fun one. And, it's something, like you said, it's something that you need every once in a while, especially on these long, big, dramatic storylines. When you're putting the characters through a ringer, you just need
they need a break too.
Yeah, you need to have, every once in a while, you need to have that issue where it's just a quiet issue where it's just them just living. Like they're not having to go fight a big supervillain. They're not having to do anything big. It's as simple as, telling a bedtime story to a little girl to put her mind at ease and help her fall asleep. And then all the other characters kind of eavesdropping. And like you said, Cyclops at the end of it, telling her thank you for it, and all of them really liking it. It's just, it's a really sweet story.
Nice.
Yeah, like I said, afterwards, then there was that big story.
The
Brood
saga.
The Brood saga,
Yeah, and it was
pages.
And what I say, like you talk about them going through the ringer with that. I mean, that was one they were, and issues in that where they were all legitimately thinking that they were gonna die because they were infected with like these Brood Queen eggs.
And then you got Fall of Mutants coming right after that, and Inferno and all kinds of other stuff. Yeah, so
but for this issue, they just got to sit back and
listen to Kitty tell
and have a nice time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, all around positive reviews. We say that the Uncanny X-Men 153 is a very good story. I give it 7.5 out of 10. Tim gives it 8 out of 10. And Dan gives it 9 out of 10. So,
all right.
Everyone, feel free to check it out. And as usual, more episodes of the Codex Podcast. We'll have more reviews coming up soon. We will be reviewing World Tree.
Next week. That's
next
right.
week.
It's good.
Yeah.
Have you guys read it so far?
I have no idea
Not
what's going
yet.
to happen. I haven't started it yet, so I'm excited. Sometimes it's good to get these stories. I like stories like this. I know X-Men, love the characters, and then sometimes it's good to get to a story. I'm like, I know nothing about these characters.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm anxious. When I go to the comic shop this weekend, I'm going to look for if the trade is available, which I don't think it's come out yet. Otherwise, I'll try and pick up as many of the single issues as I can.
You should be able to. I picked it up. I think issue 8 was the one that just came out.
Mhm.
Last month when 7 came out, I saw it on the shelf, and I was like, Jamie keeps raving about this series. At my shop, they had all the issues from 2 to 7. One of them was a second print, but they
Yeah.
had 2 to 7. I got all those. I picked up 8 when it came out, and then the shop I go to has 2 locations. When I happened to go to the other location, they had a bunch of copies still of issue 1, so I picked that up then.
Nice.
Sat there and read all 8 of them in like 2 days, and yeah, it's a really cool series. I think you guys
Nice.
will dig it.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So, everyone, with that said, this excellent episode of the Codex
Ooh.
Podcast will come to an end. Thank you, everybody, for joining us always from the beginning, who's just joining us now. Everybody who's helped us reach that 3,000 mark of hours watched, thank you. Thank you for joining us in the comments. And I could say that if I don't miss any more episodes, in 2 episodes, in 105 would be my 100th episode of the Codex Podcast. So I'm almost there.
All right.
Thank you, everybody. Take care. See you in an episode of the Codex Podcast.
All right. TJ, thank you so much, man. Great stream and chat as usual. Thanks to everyone, and I hope all have a great night. We absolutely will, man. And thank you very much for being here with us tonight. Everybody, always appreciated. Never, God, we never expect, and we are humbled every night by how much you guys participate in the chat. And even though it's a small community right now, yeah, Pam,
The love
thank
is
you so
big.
much. Absolutely, it's enormous, and honestly, if it stays just you guys, I'm okay with that because we know you, we're comfortable with you, and we talk with you every time the shows come on, and you guys are here, and that's super awesome and amazing, and I love you guys very much for all of that. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to find us on all the socials. All you got to do is type in at the Codex Station, and that is where you will find us. Uncle Gary says that we have all the socials, and we would love to give them to you, and I'm inclined to agree. Your favorite social media platform where we're live streaming right now, hit the like, share, subscribe, and follow so you don't miss more content like this all the time, every time. And don't forget, this weekend on Comics Unleashed, Jamie's going to talk to you about memberships right here on the Codex Station so you too can do even more to be a part of the Codex Station. Also, head over to thecodexstation.com to get some merch, meet the team, and so much more. Once again, thecodexstation.com for all your Codex needs. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tim the Terrible. This beautiful man over here is Dan the Kelly Art, and underneath him is X-Men's #1 fan, Sonny Kruger. This is the Codex Podcast right here on the Codex Station, and we will see you next time.
We are small, but we are mighty.
We go in gaping holes and read Hulk 180. Bye. We'll see you on Thursday.
Bye.
Get to the Thursday. Get to the Thursday now.
Ah!